Opinions. Different people have different opinions on things. I know. Revolutionary. In the context of otome games, Love and Deep Space specifically, different people may have different opinions on the lads men, right? They might have different headcanons. One person may think that Zane being shy means one thing, and another person might see it as something else. Sylus likes to walk his pet crow. One person might find that endearing, another person might find that stupid. That's fine. That's what taste is for. Everyone is allowed to have their own headcanons, their own thoughts, their own opinions about characters. That's okay. What I want to touch upon, however, is that there are certain things in the game that are canonical, but I have heard people say, for example, I have heard people mischaracterize characters, not in the way of like, I know these characters better than you do. No, listen. Like, for example, I have heard people say things like, oh, Zane would just never have time for MC, when it is canonical that he has stated on multiple occasions that MC's calls are more important to him than the hospitals. I have seen people say that, oh, Sylus is a red flag because he doesn't ask for consent, when a majority of Sylus's character relies upon him making consent so important with his relationships everywhere, not even just with MC, just in general, but specifically with MC. So it got me wondering. I was like, well, what other misconceptions do people seem to have? And I was wondering on why they had this misconception about these certain characters. So I went on TikTok and I asked you guys, and here are some responses that I got that I would like to talk about. So starting off strong, right? Let's start off with Zav. People think that Zav is just sleepy and he doesn't do much. I'm not a Zav main. I'm still getting to know him. But from what I see when I play the game, Zav is a very low-key individual, right? I mean, he used to be he still is a prince. So obviously, bro is low-key loaded. But here are some other comments that I got that I think are very interesting. Someone stated that Zav is one of the most intellectual of all the leads because, before he met MC, all he had was time, which is an interesting take. I think Xavier also does not get as much love from the fandom as I feel like he should be getting. Listen, if you have seen any of these man's cards, if you have seen any of the cards, he is freaky deaky, number one, right? He also, there's a misconception that Xavier is innocent because, of his outer appearance. He's a very, sweet boy next door. That's kind of like the vibe his appearance has. With Sylus, obviously, a lot of people think that he is definitely a red flag. But a lot of people seem to characterize him as like this big, bad, book talk, mafia boss, all while his favorite thing to do is game with the twins and he made a mechanical crow to be his friend. I don't know about you, but that doesn't scream big bad book talk mafia boss to me. With Zane, people think that he's boring. People think that he wouldn't have time for MC, which is once again a little bit odd to hear. Another misconception people have about Zane is that he's an asshole, which is wow. From the interactions that I've had with the boys, I think Zane is one of the most respectful leads. He's sarcastic, sure, he's got a dry sense of humor, but an asshole? Maybe to other people, but to MC? I don't know, I feel like that one is like a give or take. It really depends on how you see his aloofness, A lot of people do seem to think that people that are to themselves, are assholes. Not me, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. My personal opinion of him was that he was just a bit shy. Raphael, people seem to think that the only thing that stands out about Raphael is the fact that he is immature. That is one of the main misconceptions that I was reading that people were giving to Raphael. Oh, and that he's not manly. Mind you, this man is the god of the sea, but... So I was like, okay, where do these misconceptions kind of stem from? And the answers that I got, some of them I kind of was thinking about myself, for Sylus, for example, when he was introduced, right? The way that he was introduced, his first impression, I feel like he was kind of marketed as like the morally gray, book talk, you know, mafia boss guy type of vibe. You know, he was riding motorcycles. His color spread was black and red and white a little bit. And as this comment states right here, first impressions tend to stick. Another reason that I was thinking about, right, where I was like, well, you know, these things are very obviously canonical. I wonder why people don't really know them. One, it's probably because they haven't gotten that far into the story, or maybe they haven't read certain things, maybe they haven't gotten certain cards, right? And this leads us to the next point. A lot of people can't get to know these boys better because all of the cards a lot of times are behind a paywall. There's just so many cards you can pull for. Oh, one misconception about Caleb that I wanted to mention, right, was this whole thing about MC being his, like, sister. While it is canonical that they grew up together, it's also very canon, and we're shown this, that Caleb hates the thought of people seeing them as such because, I mean, they're not brother and sister. They are two kids, or they were two kids that were experimented on and then taken back to live with Josephine, you know, Grams. I know in the Chinese version, MC calls him Gaga. So, and then like in the Korean version, MC calls him Oppa. And it's like, okay, like I can understand where this misunderstanding comes from, but it's like very clear that Caleb doesn't fuck with it, right? And obviously neither does MC really. But once again, I feel like this is a very gray area, right? Because I feel like it's a touchy subject. If you're a Caleb main, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. But the way that I see it, right? If you grew up, right, in a space where you called everyone auntie and uncle, even like the people that you're not related to, or like you called your really close friends cousins, that doesn't mean that they were your cousins. That doesn't mean, you know, the auntie that lived across the street was actually your auntie. That's just something like you called people. Like that's how I saw it. But because this, like, for a lot of people, this was the only thing that they knew about Caleb. Like, they saw him and then he blew up. Sorry. It's not funny. It's not. I didn't know what to do when I saw that. I was like, is this supposed to be a dating sim? Why did he explode? So I completely understand where a misconception like that would come from. My first impressions of these boys are not the same impressions that I have of them now, right? I'm a Sylus main. I couldn't stand him in the beginning. I thought he was so fucking mean. I wanted to punch him in the face. And I mean, MC did a little bit more than just punch him in the face, which he took, by the way. And then as I got to know him, I was like, oh, this is not who he is at all. I'm not going to fully spoil his lore, but all I'm going to say is he hadn't seen MC in a while, and he thought that they already had a connection, which they obviously at the time did not. So I think that's the best way I can put it without completely ruining the plot. Which leads us to another thing that somebody brought up as to why people may have these misconceptions is if they didn't fuck with, you know, the love interest when they met them, they're not going to take the time to get their cards and understand them. I understand this completely. I understand that, one, first impressions can last, and two, I feel like all of us have done this. You know, if we don't like something, we're probably not going to take the time to get to know it better. In this case, if we don't like someone, we're probably not going to take the time to get to know them better. Therefore, we're not going to read the cards. We're not going to pull for the cards. The only issue I really kind of have with this is you're allowed to not like certain leads. You know, you're allowed to not like certain characters. That's okay. I don't really have any strong feeling against any of them, except for maybe Viper. He's kind of creepy, but but there are resources, right? Like, you can watch the cards online if you would like, if you want to learn about these love interests without pulling for them. I mean, there's like the fandom page that you can read on. Obviously, a lot of people don't want to do the work, which is also fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. But then why are you going on social media and bashing the people that actually do like these characters? That's where it becomes a problem. It's a game. No one's asking you to understand these characters. That's fine. It becomes an issue when you start trying to be morally superior for liking one character in an otome video game, okay, which is different than somebody else. That's when it kind of becomes weird, because that's when I'm like, well, you know, if you have time to do all this, maybe, you know, maybe take the time to go read the lore. I don't know. You know, like, frankly, I just don't think we should be bullying real people over fake video game characters, but that's just me. What do I know? With this, obviously, there's some nuance. I think more nuance is added when a demographic that this game wasn't really made for starts playing the game, right? So in this instance, I'm talking about, like, let's say straight dudes. So now when this happens, things get a little bit more muddy. For years, women have not been treated well in the gaming space in general, right? Like, I think it says a lot that Love and Deep Space is the first 3D otome game for women. Gaming has been around forever. But men have games like, you know, Honey Pop. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, Nikke, Brown Dust. Those are just the ones that come to mind, right? Nothing wrong with these games, you know, like, if you enjoy them, you enjoy them. That's cool. Go you. I will say, though, I don't think you're ever going to find a woman whose waist is as slim as her neck, because then she would be dead. But, you know, women play these games as well, and women enjoy these games as well, you know? Like, I genuinely don't think just because a game is not targeted towards you doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. You know, I think everybody can enjoy Love and Deep Space. But the reason why this gets a little bit on the area is now these men are telling women things like, oh, you should want better for yourself. So the women who play these games, right, they can think. They have their own thoughts, right? When you don't know the character, when you haven't taken the time to kind of understand the character, you don't really know the lore, do you see how that can come off as kind of condescending? Yeah, the reason why I even decided to make this video, because this video popped up on my For You page, but one of my mutuals made a stitch to this video. So I'll play it.
Mr. No Consent over here, this is what y'all want. This is what y'all want. Nick, what is with you and these dick-ass characters? What is wrong with y'all? Do y'all not want better for yourselves?
You know, when you as a guy, like, I genuinely don't think this person had any nasty intentions per se. I think he was just trying to make funny content, or content that people would comment on, you know, boost his video in the algorithm. Fine. That's fine, whatever. Like, if he was trying to rage bait, like, he did a great job. You can see a lot of people were not happy with what, you know, he was saying about Sylus. But he also made, like, a video about Zayn, where I think he mentioned something like, oh, Zayn is an asshole, or Zayn is boring, or something like that.
This is an asshole. What do y'all see in him? He's such a dick. Like,
and now it's becoming like you are making this safe space. Well, it was a safe space for women, but now you're entering it and you are making it very difficult to kind of see you as somebody who's just enjoying the game. Now, the demographic that the game was targeted towards are seeing you as somebody who's just judging them. We're seeing you as somebody who doesn't pay attention to what is actually happening. You're giving your opinions on a game that so many women play, and you can have your opinions. You can give your opinions. It's a free world. Do what you want to do. But now you're putting down other women, most of whom are grown, by the way. Grown women play this game, okay? This is a very female-oriented game, and now you're telling them what to do and what not to do, and it comes off as very pretentious. So let's maybe, like, not do that. I don't think this is what this guy was trying to do, right? I don't think he was trying to go out of his way to make people feel like shit or anything like that. But this game's fandom is dedicated. But besides the fact that they're dedicated, there are people. There are people that are playing a game that is finally listening to them after years of being in a gaming industry that just didn't listen to women, and now you're coming in here saying what? You know, it's rude. So if you're the guy watching this, listen, I don't have anything against you. I don't think most of the fandom has anything against you. In fact, a lot of people probably just saw your take and they rolled their eyes and they scrolled, you know, like it is what it is. But if you do end up seeing this video, this is probably why you were getting the responses that you were getting. You know, I would say like listen to what the people were saying in your comments. Well, at least the respectful ones, you know, because what you said probably ruffled some feathers for, I think, a pretty decent reason. But yeah, creators like that can also be a really big reason why people have these misinterpretations and mischaracterizations of these characters, and even just the game, right? Because people will play 2 seconds of it maybe because they're not that, like, they're not really interested in it, right? Maybe this guy is, I don't know. But for the sake of this argument, maybe they're not that interested in it. They're just playing it to make some content. And they see the 2 second clip, they only know the character for a little bit, and then that's what's put out, that video goes viral, and now people are out here thinking, oh, Zayn is boring, oh, Sylus is, you know, this weird book talk mafia boss, oh, Xavier doesn't do anything but sleep, oh, the only characteristic to Raphael is that he's sassy, oh, Caleb is a fucking red flag. That's probably another place where it comes from. Anyways, so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about that. I wanted to see what your thoughts were on the subject, because I was seeing a lot of just like back and forth in my comments regarding the mischaracterizations on my TikTok. I would love to see what you guys think here. I don't know if there are any like big mischaracterizations that I missed that people seem to always say. Those were the main ones that popped out to me. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you guys stay hydrated, drink something, and don't do anything dumb. All right, see you later.